distinguished delegates, welcome to our second plenary session. I know it's difficult to come back from a nice lunch, impressive view of Bosphorus, networking, friends you haven't seen for a long time, but we have very impressive presentations for you. I hope you will enjoy each one of it. Today, our session will be about innovation support services and what companies need from science and technology parks and areas of innovation. I would like to invite our guest speakers. Firstly, Mr. Baybars Altuntas, please. Would you please take your spot at the floor? Thank you. Mr. Zach Oliver. Miss Mariella Massaro. And Mr. Murat Erten. Our first speaker is Mr. Baybars Altuntas. I know my Turkish colleagues here know him very well, especially some times ago, let me say, I was about to say a long time ago, but from Dragon Dance Turkish version, he showed an amazing performance and made a point in our memories. Today, we are going to hear about financial positioning of startups for Technoparks. Let me talk about his resume a little bit. At the moment, he is the Vice President for World Business Angel Investment Forum, Vice President of the European Trade Association for Business Angels, Seed Funds and Early Stage Market Players, President of the Business Angels Association of Turkey, World Entrepreneurship Forum Ambassador to Turkey and the Balkan countries, President of Dolcam International, and he is very well known also to international innovation community for his efforts to JCI and also to the research community with his theory known as Altuntas Startup Campus Theory, which is very interesting and worked at Sheffield University, used at different MBA programs. Also, I hope he also mentions some of it in his presentation. So it's my honor to invite him to the floor, Mr. Altuntas, please.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. In 2010, I could find an opportunity to make a personal meeting with the former US President Obama. You might recall the fact that he organized and hosted the first Global Entrepreneurship Summit in DC in 2010. And in this meeting, I asked a critical question. And I want to ask the same question to you now. If he would become the President of the United States in 1950, then he would again recall the global summit he is hosting as the Global Entrepreneur Summit or Global Inventors Summit. I think he would call it as Inventors Summit. Why? Because in 1950s, 60s, invention was very important. But today, innovation is important. Why? Because today's governments are very intelligent. They support innovation, not invention. Because innovation creates new jobs, new tax, and new wealth for societies. Invention, no, it doesn't create new tax for governments. So today, innovation is much more important than invention. In 1950s, 60s, customer was ready, end user was ready to consume anything invented. But today, customer is not ready to consume anything coming to market. So I have a very practical definition of innovation. If invented, article is consumed by the consumer, it is innovation. If it doesn't sell in the market, it is invention, not innovation. Now, today, we have a very critical driver of the process from invention to innovation, entrepreneur. So, 95% of global economy is driven by SMEs, entrepreneurs. 5% is driven by big holdings. But entrepreneurs' importance in this process is very, very meaningful if this entrepreneur is connected to global investors' markets. Today's entrepreneurs' main challenge is access to finance. So I think it is very important, it is a very important responsibility of Technoparks and innovation industry to address this challenge and convert this challenge to an opportunity for entrepreneurs of today. My presentation's topic is positioning Technoparks and innovation industry in the financial roadmap of startups, scale-ups, entrepreneurs, and high-growth businesses. So, what I mean is, entrepreneur produces a business idea in the right side of the brain. And when he produces this idea, he is at the entrepreneurship stage. He is not an entrepreneur. He wants to be an entrepreneur. He's a potential entrepreneur. And then innovation comes, then entrepreneurship, then marketing, branding, franchising, so blah, blah, blah. You can find the whole theory if you Google it. And this is what Nuray mentioned, Sheffield University made a research if this theory works. And they released a report about it that now using in some MBA programs in different campuses. So, in this process, the financial roadmap of the entrepreneur is very important to create this business idea, to carry this business idea to a success story. So what like financial sources of today's entrepreneurs have? First, crowdfunding. It's very important. Why? Because from entrepreneurship stage to innovation stage, he needs to create a demo. And he doesn't have financial resource to create this demo. In that case, he has only one reliable and very beneficial source of finance, which is we call as crowdfunding. Why? Because you are putting your business idea to the attention of the consumer directly, and if this guy enjoys this idea, he puts money online from any corner of the world. This money is the most smart and the most valuable money he can reach. Why? Because it is very, very easy to convince investors if he raised money from the consumer directly. The difference of this finance than the others is it is coming directly from consumer, from the end user. So it is very valuable. After creating his demo, he has to go to angel investors with the demo, but angel investors and other investors also ask him to bring some financial reports, not just demo. Did he sell or not in the market? What is the financial plan he applied, he used in the last 24 months, last year, 6 months, whatever. In that case, this startup needs one more supporter who will also put some more finance for him to act in the markets. So, generally, up to $50K, $50,000 is the crowdfunding area, seed area, bootstrappers area, family finance, etc., or personal credit cards. But from 50K to 150K, we need another player, another financer. Technoparks, incubation centers, acceleration centers, government grants are the main players of this gap. This is the first acute gap in the financial route map of entrepreneurs. Why? Because it is very difficult to convince investors for dreams. And now, customer believes in his dreams and puts some money, and technoparks, incubation centers, acceleration centers, governments believe in his dreams and supports him to create at least a financial Excel sheet to be conveyed to investors. Then angel investors come, and angel investors, okay, demo is here, entrepreneurs are here, investing in the right team, invested by the right team, they come together and they try to create a success story. So after angel investors, of course, you know, M&A, IPO, VC, etc., there are so many sources of finances available. But the most important part to create a success story and to fill the gap, Joseph this morning mentioned as that valley, I think, is the early stage phase. So I think 21st century is now loading a new responsibility over technoparks. In Turkey, there are 61 technoparks, and I know some of them have incubation centers, and some of them are trying to create global appearance like ITU, like Bilkent Cyberpark, etc. So in this game, connecting the startups in the incubation center with global angel investors who created a success story by making successful exits before is very important. Why? Because if you put money, you have only one expectation as an investor: return of invest. Sorry, nobody is playing a game. Investor is not a public person. He's a citizen responsible for paying his own taxes and creating social value, impact for his society. In order him to create a sustainable entrepreneurial ecosystem, if we have an expectation, something like this from this investor, then he has to make successful exits. Otherwise, he puts money and loses money. And we cannot expect a sustainable entrepreneurial ecosystem under this circumstance. So, I think innovation parks, science parks, technoparks, however you call, innovation industry is very crucial in carrying these startups from startup to scale-up level. Because OECD statistics show that 1.2%, Nuray Hanım, of entrepreneurs are able to reach the finance of investors. 1.2%. And one entrepreneur in every 10 entrepreneurs who reached this finance is able to create a success story. So this is a very risky area. If incubation centers under Technoparks are going to take a little bit risk from the shoulders of the investors, this is something very valuable. Kenan, very valuable. So the positioning of Technoparks in this financial route map is very, very important because you cannot expect everything from the private industry. There are co-working offices, there are co-working spaces, etc., etc. That's not enough. In 61 technoparks, if each of them has around, let's say, 50 startups, it makes 3,000 startups. This means 1% of them is going to receive finance, 30 startups. And 3 of them are going to create a global success story. We are talking about the creating success stories for these 3 startups. So this is a little bit long story. And in this long journey, ecosystems need such kind of support from its innovation ecosystem. Okay, how WBAF, I'm chairman of the World Business Angels Investment Forum, is supporting innovation ecosystem to create more value to empower the startup economy in the world. I will not, I have time? Or? Yeah, good. Could you please come to the website? On 19th of February, 2018, we are going to host the WBAF's World Congress in Istanbul. And we are going to talk about world equity markets. Not capital markets, but equity markets. Last year, our headline sponsor was the London Stock Exchange Group. So we focused on a little bit more about the capital markets. But next year, we are going to directly focus on equity markets, which means early stage investment markets, where our startups and scale-ups are very active. So I invite you to visit this website and see, have more idea about speakers, etc. But what are we going to announce on the 19th of February in Istanbul? I am very pleased to announce it now, to make a teaser, but the official announcement will be on the 19th of February. WBAF is going to launch the WBAF accreditation program for Technoparks, incubation centers, acceleration centers on the 19th of February. This accreditation program will be free of charge for WBAF members, but anyone who wants to benefit from this program can become the WBAF member. It is just 3,000 euro per year, by the way. But this free ticket will be only available for the first 20 Technoparks, and they will be also promoted to the world community of investors. So I invite you to send an email from this website, and they will come to me, by the way, and I will be very, very pleased to cooperate with you and connect entrepreneurs in Pakistan with the investors in the United States, entrepreneurs of Nigeria with the investors in France. Because such kind of an accreditation system is going to put a full program that will connect the entrepreneurs and investors of the local ecosystem with the global markets. I think the missing change in the innovation ecosystem is the connection. Why? Because local economies, local investors invest in their local startups. Cross-border investment is something a little bit difficult, and it is not our subject now to discuss. So in order to attract the valuable, qualified investors for local markets, you have to find a bridge. Why? Because exit is important, and exit is something that can be experienced by making exit. unfortunately, most of the countries in the world don't have global exit stories. So I think it is very important to invite these global angel investors and connect them not just with startups, but with also local investors. Because local investors' challenge is not finance. They have money. But their challenge is they lack of know-how, unfortunately, networking to make successful exits. So such kind of successful global investors, I think, is very crucial to carry this know-how to local markets. So I would like to end my presentation, if you let me, by showing you a 3-minute video, and would be very pleased to connect with you in the social media or via email, and thanking so much to Joseph, to Luis, and all board members of IASP for inviting me as a speaker today. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
Entrepreneur, startup, SME are buzzwords of the 21st century. But today, what is really needed to be a successful entrepreneur, startup or SME? In the past, inventions were fundamental for economic development. Nowadays, it is not invention, but innovation that counts. Today's entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs cannot compete in the markets without innovation. In order to innovate, they need a set of skills to move their ideas into the market. First of all, they need finance to scale up their business as quick as possible. And there are several ways to get it. But only one of them gives more than just money: the business angels. They contribute with their know-how, provide mentorship, and share their own networks in contributing to the businesses they invest in. More than just finance, they provide smart finance. Now, business angels are the leaders of the world's early-stage investment markets. Since 2015, more than 300,000 angel investors from the US invested more than $25 billion in startups and SMEs annually, while in Europe, more than 300,000 angel investors invested more than €6 billion annually. It is estimated that angel investment global market size is now over US $50 billion every year. The World Business Angels Investment Forum is an international organization aiming to ease access to finance from startup to scale up to exit. We focus on linking the best entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs with the most qualified angel investors and institutions in the world. Our main goal is to have all the players working together across borders. We do it by having our set of international training programs. We work with governments worldwide. We have our own World Business Angels Investment Fund. We have the Global CEO Alliance Club. And we focus on SME's scoring system. To bring all of it together, we organize exclusive investment events and annual meetings in which we identify strategies and actions during the year. And the World Excellence Awards, in which we salute who stands out on imagining, discussing, and shaping the future of an entrepreneurial world. The World Business Angels Investment Forum invites all the investment market players, governments, and policymakers to join our global efforts to ease access to finance and create more jobs and more social justice worldwide. The World Business Angels Investment Forum, committed to empower the economic development of the world.